Ryan Ries Show from Southern California. This is The Ryan Ries Show. Post your questions using @Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Are you ready?
All right, tonight we got a good show. I got one of my good friends back in studio. I don't know how long it's been, but I have Phil. He runs what's the name of the nonprofit?
Well,
you run
we have
now?
two,
Yeah.
but we use Together Freedom for the trafficking.
What's it called?
Together Freedom.
Together
but
Freedom.
It's to get her freedom.
To get her freedom. That's for the human trafficking.
Right.
Yeah, because the name has changed several times. What is that the website too?
Yeah, that's pretty much the website. It would be togetherfreedom.org.
Okay, so we're going to talk about all kinds of new stuff because I legitimately have not talked to you. We've been texting. You've been trying to get me out on your boat for like 5 years now. Exactly. You know, that would actually be really fun to do now that my daughters are actually in a good age.
Tiny, yeah.
Yeah, it was honestly, Phil, it was too much. It was too crazy at that time to get 3 2-year-olds on a boat in the sea.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I totally get that.
But now they would legitly.
And I have to buy life jackets that are really tiny.
Oh yeah, we'll get them. But it would legitly be a great time now. They would enjoy it.
Yeah.
Because they're in that age where they could we were at my house the other day and they looked out the window and they're like, look at the sky's red.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, that's called the sunset. Like they could actually they'll see the ocean and
Dolphins and whales.
yes.
Yeah.
We should now we need to put that on the calendar.
Sure.
So I want to catch up on everything that's been going on with you, but really quick, a little background from our last show. You had a facility up in Northern California, and you had troubled teens, we'll say, human trafficking victims that you have worked with the cops and FBI and different people to pull out and to put them in a safe place, to take them to court and actually put the abusers or the traffickers in jail.
Absolutely.
But there's been so much. Well, I remember we did. We were going up there actually with the Whosoever's team, and we were actually being able to minister and actually hang out and develop relationships for like 4 days. We even did a baptism in the back pond.
I remember that. That was so cool.
There was so many awesome, cool things the way God got you there and what He did there. But now you're in a new season.
Boy, that's for sure.
So we have an hour, and people are going to be very interested to hear more about you and what's been going on. So do a little bit more background on who you are and what you're doing and why.
Sure. Well, it started when I was a San Diego police officer, and as you know, so this is kind of old news to you, but
exactly.
Kind of got a call to back up the FBI in La Jolla, which is a kind of a high rent district.
It is.
It's very high end, and there was a big hotel down there, and there was a shooting, and so we went down there to cover the FBI, and come to find out there were 11 girls that were they thought that they had been hired as models to go to Paris for a photo shoot. And this guy had spent a lot of time grooming them and getting them, trusting the parents, or having the parents being able to trust them.
Wow.
And so the very slick operation, and convinced the girls and the parents to go on this photo shoot. But in reality, they had been sold for $20,000 a piece, and they were going to Turkey and to never be seen again.
Did they know they were going to Turkey?
No.
They had no idea.
They thought they were going to Paris for a photo shoot. So they were ticked off at us because we're wrecking their trip.
Yeah.
And we're like, no, you have no clue. You were never coming back.
Oh my gosh.
And so
how old were all these girls?
I think they were ranging from 14 to 17, but they were all under 18. They were all minors.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. And so so they arrested the guy. He had shot at one of the girls because one of the girls was informing on him and to the FBI, and that's how they knew about it.
Got it.
And so she ran downstairs and jumped in one of those commercial trash cans. So then we went, fished her out, and then went upstairs and rescued the other girls. And I was like blown away because I grew up in a Christian home. I had really neat parents, and I wasn't sheltered, but even being a police officer, I thought human trafficking, sex trafficking in the United States, that doesn't happen.
Yeah.
And it got, that was 30 years ago. So that was really an eye opener for me. And so God just really laid it on my heart that, who's helping these girls? And is this a problem? So for one, I did the research and figured out it was a big problem. Law enforcement didn't know what to do with these girls, didn't know how to deal with them. I mean, this was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So no one really talked about it. They had no clue how to deal with it. So I started doing research and just figuring out, okay, what can I do to help these girls? Because I feel like they're falling through the cracks. So Kim, my wife, and I decided to start a ministry just reaching out. And so we reached out to both troubled kids and to trafficked kids. And it just grew unbelievably. I mean, we went from a small mom and pop to a multi-million-dollar, ministry. And so from there, we just started taking kids that were minors. We wanted to focus in on the minor kids because that was the biggest gap. And so we said, okay, what do these kids need? And so I was really just asking the Lord, okay, I don't want to just waste my time here. I don't want to reach out to these kids and then just have them go back to the life. I really want to figure out what we need to do. And so we got really creative in how we would relate to these girls. And it's nowhere like how you would relate to a troubled teen because they just don't tolerate it. And so we just learned over the years how to minister to them. And I thought if I could get 20% of girls to turn around, I would be kind of happy with that.
Yeah.
Because it was such a hardcore life.
Yeah.
And there was so much damage done to the girls.
Yeah.
But we ended up closer to the 85%. Wow. And I was blown away and so thankful. And these girls, like you've met them, and they're so sweet and they're resilient.
Yeah.
And they make decisions for Christ, and you can see their countenance change.
Yes.
Just everything changes in them. It's so cool. And a couple of the girls I've kind of connected with over the years, and so now we're still hanging out, and they're adults now, and that's kind of
I've seen
extra bonus.
Too. Oh, excuse me. They'll hit us up on social media.
Yeah.
Like, oh, my crystal back. Hey, that's so and so from from the center. So awesome.
It is really cool. They'll call me up randomly. Hey, you want to have lunch? They might be struggling sometimes, or maybe they just want to hang out.
Yeah, exactly.
Either way, I'm there.
So interested enough, going back to what you said about the difference between these kids and just youth that
Struggling
are just
kids,
just normal kids that are having problems. These boys or girls, they've been through like really gnarly traumatic stuff.
Absolutely.
So then you're bringing them out, and you have to you can't just like crack the whip on them like you would like on a disobedient kid. These kids are you're seeing the reaction of what has been done to their heart, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like almost like you have to go in and go for the heart to find out the root of the problem, and then help walk them out through the trauma.
Right. They've basically been raped every day, multiple times a day.
Okay, exactly.
So
yeah.
Try and get that around your head.
Yeah, exactly. Wrap that around your head, and then you say, "Oh, don't worry about it. You need to move on."
Or say, don't use that. The F word. Don't have that attitude.
The minors.
Don't get together with another girl. Because for me, growing up in a conservative Christian home, that stuff is bothersome to me. Yeah. Okay, but I had to get my attitude to kind of change, to go, I'm not going to help these girls by being legalistic or by trying to perform a behavioral mod kind of mentality. So it was like I had to kind of let some of that go. They use really bad language. Yeah. Fine. Get over it. Move on. I mean, work on the heart.
Exactly. And like you're saying, that's the effects of what's going on in their heart.
Yeah.
It's like band-aiding. Oh, stop the language. But what's really going on is the heart.
It is. It is. It's the surface stuff. And that's the same with kids that are struggling at home and regular kids that are being kind of rebellious. But it's more evident. It's more out there because they think that if you do anything nice for them,
what do you want?
What do you want?
What do you want from me?
Yeah,
exactly. And that's the way they were trafficked.
And the manipulation and the literal torture that some of these girls went through, both physically and emotionally, I won't even share because it's not appropriate.
Right.
And it, some of your listeners will just be like, traumatized because it's so horrific what has been done to some of these girls. And you think, man, if I wasn't a Christian and didn't have any kind of moral background, I would want to take care of these guys.
Yep. No, for sure.
The human side of me would want to really take it to them. And so it's one of those things where over the years it's just just focus on loving the girls, focus on helping them. Don't get caught up in who the suspect is and the pimps are. We don't call them pimps, we call them slaveholders because pimp gives a connotation that she's a prostitute,
Right.
but really she's being forced.
She's unfortunate. She's a slave.
So she's really a slave.
So interesting enough, as you're saying all this stuff, I'm just reflecting back on Jesus's ministry, and I was just going through Matthew today, listening to it, and it says that when Jesus saw the people, they were just out there confused and sheep without a shepherd, and and he was going to the broken, basically, to these people that were lost, and his ministry was to. When you read about it, he was with the people. He was there with the multitudes. He was in the houses. He was breaking bread. He was, he was going out of his way. The woman, the Samaritan woman, that was been through several relationships. She was completely confused, broken, lost, and he went out of his way. I think it was like 200 and something miles out of his way on the way to Jerusalem just to go get this one lady. And that's the model, and that's what I've seen even with you guys when I went up to these centers. That it's just hanging out and developing a relationship. I remember when we got there, I think it was you or Tiffany or someone that was just like, just come in. They're gonna have their guards up to you.
Yeah.
Because who are you?
Yeah.
And what do you want?
Yeah.
And I remember we showed up and they were just looking and no one was talking to us. Some people, all the girls were looking at us kind of like,
checking you out.
Who are they? And it was like that for a while.
Yeah.
But then we started playing a game.
Yeah.
It was called Signs. The Signs?
Oh, yeah. I don't know.
It was called Signs, yeah. We played Signs. And then all of a sudden, it just like, we were all goofing around, messing around. And then you can see this child like come out of them.
Absolutely.
And then next you know, the barriers were broken down. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, just over that. And it wasn't like every single one was totally like opened up. But it was like one egg was getting cracked at a time throughout the time we were there. And these conversations started happening. And then we would go back months later and then more would happen. And it was just this, man, it was just a really cool thing. But you can just see how God did these cool things. And by the time they graduate, they're 80%, you said.
Well, 80% are successful. And the way that can be very subjective on how you say, what is success?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, just to relate to what you said, is that these girls, they have trust issues. So that's our biggest hurdle to overcome.
Right.
So once you get, most kids have entitlement issues, the kids that are struggling behaviorally. That's an oversimplification, but it's kind of the basic truth.
Yeah.
And so what we think is we have to build a relationship with that child over a long period of time because that trust doesn't come back quickly. And so it's one of those things. And our success is based on, is that child moving forward or are they stuck or going backwards? So if they're moving forward on a consistent basis, then we consider that success.
Yeah.
And so we've had probably about 4 to 7% that have returned to the life. And that makes us sad. And we keep working on them and keep being there for them. But like I said, we are just been totally shocked and blessed on how these kids have just succeeded. And, a lot of them have kids now. They're married. Gosh, it kind of dates me, but I've been doing it that long.
No, that's awesome. And it's fun. When you were talking, I was thinking about the trust issue. So like if you want to relate it to just a common person that's like listening to this right now, it's like when you have like someone that you trust because they trust these traffickers or these slaveholders. They trust them because they're doing all these good things for them, and then all of a sudden they just burn them and switch the card on them. It's like having a best friend or you're in a relationship and you're in love or whatever, and you trust this person, this girlfriend or boyfriend or husband or wife, and then they cheat on you or something. Right. And then it's something, that it's really hard to overcome for the trust. And this is like a love relationship. This is someone like if you're with a boyfriend or girlfriend, but imagine being in a situation where you've been abused hardcore. Dude, the trust level has to be way, way more. And that's a huge hurdle.
Well, and the trust gets worse as they start to come out of it and realize what they were in.
Oh,
it gets worse because it starts out with the Stockholm Syndrome. So what happens is, and for those of you who don't know what Stockholm is, basically the slaveholder will meet the needs of the girl, buy her food, buy her makeup, hair. Now it's all selfish.
Right.
He's not doing it for her.
Yeah.
But so she becomes dependent on him. So all of a sudden, there's this relationship, even though it's super unhealthy and deviant, she will bond with him because he's providing for her, even though it's selfish one way, and it's all for the purpose of him making money.
Yeah.
But it's a psychological thing. And so we'll have girls that'll come in and they'll go, well, I need to call him. It's his birthday. And my head's going,
Yeah.
are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You know? But until they come out of it, which is kind of weird, because when they do come out of it, they'll come to like Tiffany or one of the staff and they'll go, I can't believe what that guy did to me.
Yeah.
And it's just like all of a sudden the light switch goes on and they're kind of popping out of that Stockholm Syndrome and realizing, but then all the hurt and the
How
trauma.
could that happen? Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the trust of I'm not trusting anybody.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So it gets harder.
Dang.
Yeah. No, it's a hard job. Tiffany and Blaze, her husband, are amazing people that put up with a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. They're saints.
Every day they are dealing with drama every single day. Because we have enough girls that there's drama every day.
How many girls do you guys have now? Is it boys and girls or just
No,
girls?
we have just trafficked minor girls.
Minor girls. Got it.
And we have usually anywhere from 10 to 20.
10 to 20 at a time.
10,
and that is a lot.
10 is probably where we like to be, because if you get more than that, it tends to implode. I'll give you an example of how different it is. You can have 24 troubled teens or struggling teens in a dorm. You can only have 8 traffic kids.
Right.
Because if you put more, it just implodes.
Yeah.
It just absolutely implodes. There's all sorts of pecking orders. There's all sorts of just cultural things that the slaveholders taught them. There's the hierarchy, like there's the pimp or the slaveholder, then there's the bottom girl, then there's the recruiter, then there's the enforcer. And so they have all these people that were involved in their life. And so if you put too many personalities in there, they just can't have it, and you have fights break out, and it gets pretty ugly.
Wow. Okay.
So Tiffany's like constantly managing that.
Oh man, no,
And calling me going, okay, what do we do?
Yeah, it's constant fire. She's a firewoman.
Yeah.
This is just a side note or question. Is there a lot of human traffic boys under 18? Is there a thing for boys, or is it more just girls?
There is. I mean, it's obviously much higher for girls, but a friend of mine, Kevin Malone, is doing a ministry, and he's got a boys program in Florida, and it's probably almost.
Oh, actually, we don't have to say that.
What's that?
Oh, I said what part of Florida?
Oh, yeah.
You can't say that.
Probably shouldn't.
I forgot.
But it's extreme. Like I commend his bravery.
Those crazy,
because it's such a complicated, even more so than the girls, because there's a lot of transsexualism, and it just you got so much more to manage, and so. But I give him all the credit in the world, because he's reaching out, because he knows that there's no. As far as I know, he's probably one of 5 programs, if there's still 5 programs in the entire nation for boys. That's crazy.
How many are there? How many does he normally have?
I think he has 6 to 8, but I'm not positive about that. But
wow.
I just know that he got put on the President's Commission for sex trafficking, human trafficking. So he's really doing a good job to look at the legislative part and to do. But he's doing a great work too. But we're partnering with everybody we can. Because it's like this job is too big to just say, "Oh, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We've got it." You know.
No, it's
partner.
So if people, because you guys look for different people to work there and volunteer and stuff like that. So how do people contact you for that?
Yeah, they can just go to the website, togetherfreedom.org, and just email us and say, hey, I'd like to intern. I'd like to work there.
Yeah.
I mean, as you know, the country's, hurting for employers, are hurting for staff. We're no different. We're screaming for people to work for us. Would love to have couples looking for, a couple that maybe is good with administrative tasks.
Yep.
Maintenance people, house parents, just because we have this kind of mentor type structure. We're not a group home. We're not a residential treatment center. We are a Christian school. That's how we've licensed ourselves.
Right.
And so it's a campus. And we just have chosen to allow these types of girls to come into our school because they can't make it in a normal school. They just won't survive. And so that's kind of where we ran into the, I don't know if you want me to get into this, but the legal problems that we had with California.
I do actually. That's fine. We have 9 minutes left to the break. So
Okay. Well, the part of the reason why we left, and I won't spend a lot of time on this, but a lot of the reason why we left California was because, as you know, California is losing it, and everything is government controlled and ridiculous. And so when you know the stat that like 70 to 90% of kids recruited into sex trafficking are recruited out of a group home or foster care system, there's a problem.
70%.
70% minimum. Okay, and I think it's higher.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what they wanted to do. They said, well, we want you guys to not be a school. We want you guys to be a group home. Right. And we're like, why would we want to do that? We've been successful for 25 years, and now you want us to be dysfunctional?
Yeah.
No, thanks. Well, then they did a bunch of surprise inspections, trying to catch us doing something illegal, so to speak.
Right.
Never caught us because we were doing it right.
Yeah.
Well, they came in the fourth time. And I'm like, hey, guys, when I was a police officer, if somebody made a complaint and I had checked it out 3 times and it wasn't valid, I'd tell the person, hey, they're okay. They're cool. Why?
And you're an ex-police officer.
Right.
That's the best thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, I don't, this seems like harassment. This seems like you're coming after us.
Yeah.
And so they just said, well, sorry, and you could tell they had an agenda.
Yeah.
So I filed a federal lawsuit against them for discrimination and free speech, freedom from compelled speech, and that we're a Christian organization and they shouldn't have the right to do what they're doing. And so they decided to retaliate. So they filed a lawsuit against me in state court. So this went on, and I won't get into the weeds because it got ridiculous, but that went on for 3 years. And they were fining me personally $200 a day. And it was up to like $80,000.
Oh my gosh.
And when you have a corporation, you don't go after the individuals.
You go after the corporation.
Yeah, that's why you have a corporation to protect you. So this went on forever, and they were playing all sorts of dirty tricks, and they were tapping our phones and sending undercover agents to the campus.
Unbelievable.
It was unbelievable, but they never found anything wrong. Yeah. So we ended up in court, and the judge admonished them and basically said, look, you are treading on their constitutional rights. And so the state settled. And so just dropped everything.
Wow, what a miracle.
So we kind of, we offered them a settlement and say, look, we'll even leave the state just because we want to do ministry.
Yeah.
And I really struggled with this because part of me said, does God want me to fight this battle for the faith-based community? Yeah. And I kind of came to the conclusion that was not our ministry. Right. Our ministry was helping these kids, and it was such a distraction.
I was thinking getting derailed. Satan wanted to derail you and confuse you because not everything that's put in front of you could be from God. Right. Like you could say, oh man, no, does God want us to fight this for the faith to stand for the church? But then that could be just a shiny object that Satan's like, if he gets caught up in all this fight, the girls go to the waste. Yeah. And that's not what God had.
And when you think about how tenacious the state is when they go after someone, it's a miracle. I mean, when we offered them the settlement, keep in mind this drama's been going on for 3 years. Yeah. We offered them the settlement, they took it up in 2 days and said, we accept. So it had to go through the Department of Justice of California. They had to go through licensing, a couple other state, like what they call CDL, which is just a licensing firm. But they went all through those agencies in 2 days, and they said, "Yeah, we're in.
Unbelievable.
We're good." So it was pretty. So I felt like it was the right decision because right after that, things became even more chaotic, and I started thinking about the people like the guy, the baker.
The baker.
The guy that got sued because he wouldn't make a cake for.
Oh yeah,
remember that? And a lot of this had to do with the LGBT situation. Yeah. And so. I looked at him and he was constantly getting sued. So it was a constant distraction. Yeah. Well, he's making cakes. I'm trying to save lives. I'm not comparing or saying he's less than. I'm just saying that I think his focus was making cakes. But I'm dealing with 10, 20, 30 lives at a time and 30 staff. And, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So I kind of prayed about it and said, you know what? It's time to get back to focus on the girls.
Yeah.
And not that we took our focus completely off, but I was getting worn out.
Yeah, I can only. You're going. The state's coming against you. I mean, that's a big deal.
That was daily.
Yeah, I remember we got texts from you. We were praying. We were just like, wow, that's just one of the things that's just in God's hands. Like God had to like do it,
Yeah.
So now before the break, because we're gonna talk more about everything that's going on with you in your new spot. So you moved states. What was that process like?
Well,
I mean, you're moving.
it was chaotic. It was right in the middle of COVID. And so we're like, and there were some other things.
COVID in California.
Yeah. Exactly. Because that does need a distinction.
There's a big difference.
Yeah. And so, it was a nightmare. I mean, we other things happened. There was a gentleman, John Kenyon. He was owner of the property we were currently at. He's a neat Christian guy, was supporting us 100%. And so it was kind of like, well, okay, now we need to make a decision. And so when we decided to go to Texas, his situation changed too. So it was kind of like God kind of said, Phil, I'm confirming this is what you need to do. Mm-hmm. And so I was pleased with that, because it's hard when you make these kind of decisions, because you're like, am I making the right decision? Am I wimping out? Yeah. I don't want to wimp out. I'm totally. A fighter.
Yes.
So, but I do think I'm convinced it was the right decision. And so we just had to get buses, car transportation. We had to transport 32 animals. And just to tell you how rough it went, the driver got arrested in the transit of all the animals, and they impounded all the animals and his truck.
Are you serious?
It was, this is the kind of stuff that we're like, oh my God.
You can't make this stuff.
No, exactly. So, but we pulled it off, and we got there, and now we have like over 100 animals.
So did you guys have a llama or what? You had something, or the dogs. You were breeding some dogs.
Right. We are breeding Newfoundland dogs.
Newfoundland, that's what it was.
Yeah. And that's very therapeutic for the kids, because they take care of the puppies and, and get them ready for sale. We have like a 2-year waiting period for these dogs. It brings in a little revenue that helps with the girls. But more importantly, we have a lot of animals, and the animals are really used towards, there's nothing, the girls just relax around animals.
Yeah.
And so we have pigs and chickens and goats.
Yep,
and I think the donkeys are still on their way, but we have 4, miniature donkeys that are being donated. And we have a bull. We have 5 cows that just dropped 5 more cows. So it's turning into a pick and farm.
Yeah.
And Tiffany loves animals. You know how she is on animals. So I think it's positive, as long as it doesn't get out of control, taking care of all the animals, But it was funny, because we ended up buying a piece of property, and I was like, how are we going to pull this off?
Okay, you know what? Let's do this.
Okay.
Because we're going to be going to break in a minute. I want to plug a couple things, because we got a lot going on, and then we're going to pick up right after the break. So first of all, we have Thousand Oaks. We're touring the Thousand Oaks with the Whosoevers. We're doing a mega tour from June 12th to June 19th. A lot of people have been DMing me on Instagram and going, hey, where can I get the details? Go to thewhosoevers.com, click on the tour button. It's right there. It has all of our dates. If you want us to come out to your church, your skate park, your boys' homes, girls' homes, juvenile detention center, church, etc., basically wherever there are young people, go to thewhosoevers.com. Contact us. We are on a Whosoever mega tour across the United States right now with tons of dates. We have the whole month of June filled. We're filling July right now. Working on August, September, October, etc. So check it out. Go to thewhosoevers.com as well. Oh, look, I'm going to be in Texas, actually. Right here. I'm going to be in Grapeland, Texas on July 24th at Camp Rockfest.
And the next day, you're going to be at our campus.
I was going to ask you, I need to come to your campus.
Absolutely, you should.
So, and maybe you can meet me here at this concert or someone. But I'll come to your campus. I want to do that. I'm going to extend my trip to come to you guys after.
Okay, he's on radio saying that, folks, so you got to hold him to it.
I already thought about it because I knew this was happening. Okay. So I'm going to do that. I have a book out. Go to killthenoisebook.com. It's called Kill the Noise, Finding Meaning Above the Madness. It is the #1 release right now on Amazon for the Western United States. Check it out, and I'll be back right after the break. Peace.
More of The Ryan Ries Show coming up. Post your questions at Ryan Ries on his Instagram, Twitter, and or Facebook. Now, back to the Ryan Ries Show.
That's true. We are back with my boy Phil from, plug your nonprofit again.
Together Freedom, or togetherfreedom.org.
And that's it. And it's, you guys rescue, you work with the police force, FBI, you bring young girls under 18 in, and you work, it's a school, you work on getting their education so they graduate, and you work on the heart issue to help them overcome and get their feet stable on the rock, which is Christ, and to go into the world. And we've seen many of the girls graduate, Crystal and I, and they've contacted us on social media, and it's just really cool to see the effect of this school. And we've been there. The Whosoevers have been there many times. I'm going back now soon because I'm going to be in a concert speaking out there in July sometime. But I'm going to come out and hang out, and I'm excited to see everyone.
Yeah, they will be too. It'll be
so
great.
It's going to be exciting. And I'm going to send my new book with you. And I didn't plug this before the break, but the Kill the Noise book, Phil, what I wrote is, it's funny, is because during the first lockdown, the pandemic, I started working on a couple of chapters to just kind of get the outline of it. And then we went into lockdown. I got the book deal right when the shutdown happened. So I just cranked it out.
Nice.
Like you'll get into the middle of the book and it's like, I'm sitting here right now. All the guns are sold out. No toilet paper. Lines at Costco. You know,
what's more important, guns or toilet paper?
Yeah, exactly. So it was, it's pretty crazy to see what was happening, but I wrote it, and I actually wrote it because it's so awesome how you're a discipler as well. And I wrote this book I had 3 book offers, and 2 of them wanted me just to write my testimony. And I'm like, testimonies are cool, but you know, late at night when you're in bed and you have fear running through your body, or you have anxiety, or you're trying to face these past issues in your life, a story is not going to get you through the night. It's only the Word of God, is the Scriptures, is what you could literally hold on to, because you know that the Word of God is true, and it's God's words and its promises, what He says. Yeah. And that's why when I wrote the book, I used my life stories of, you know, it's like a highlight reel. Like, you know, when you flip through Instagram, it's just like a highlight reel of my life from me growing up until now, over the last, you know, how old am I? I'm 45 years old. So highlight reel of,
you're old.
I know. I just, you know, I would say don't do drugs and alcohol, but and don't smoke cigarettes every day. But you know, no, thank you God for keeping me looking okay through all that. You know, I've been sober 13 years now by God's grace, and it's just a awesome thing. So anyway, with that said, is this book exists? It's a discipleship tool that will take people on this journey. It's Bible teaching. It's life application. It's what Jesus did.
Yeah.
He would give life application, and then he would teach the scriptures. And that's what this book is. And I'm going to give you a box of books to take back to your tribe in Texas, to the girls.
Yeah.
And then by the time I show up, they'll read it, and then the encounter, what will happen then is going to be amazing.
I think it'll be great because they'll know who you are.
Yeah, that's going to be awesome. Dude, I'm so excited.
Yeah,
We're booking
great.
that stuff today. I got to make a note of that. All right, let's get back to your story. So you got the group, you started going to Texas. The guy that was transforming all your animals got towed, ended up in jail, and he got out, I think.
Yeah, he did.
So you got there.
Yeah.
And now what is God doing? What was the process like? You're getting there, you're at this massive area in Texas.
Well,
what's the difference?
It was pretty amazing because everybody was like withdrawing. Everybody was like kind of pulling in their reins because of COVID. So money was kind of scarce, and finding funds was kind of sketchy at best. And so I'm thinking, man, how are we going to pull this off? We have to buy this property. We don't want to be in debt. We want to be, debt free.
Yeah.
We raised over $1 million in like 6 weeks.
Oh my gosh.
It was
amazing.
crazy. It was crazy. People were popping out of the woodwork. And so we were just super, super stoked about it. And so we bought a piece of property that was about 45 acres. And it was all it was all built, like buildable. It was all buildable. Right. And on the back of the property, you have this view of a 2,000 acre cattle ranch that just slopes down just enough so you get this really cool view. Yeah. Okay, because Texas is not like super.
It's kind of flat, right?
Yeah, generally, I think. That's my opinion of it.
Yeah.
And so we just felt like, okay, this is the property. And so one of the donors came up with just a pretty good chunk of money to buy the property, but it wasn't enough. And then some parent that I had helped in the past, who I never thought had this kind of money.
No way.
Calls me up and says, hey, my wife and I have been talking about helping you out buy the property. And I'm like, I'm thinking 10.
Yeah.
Maybe 20 if you're lucky.
Yeah.
And he's like, we'd like to give you like $130,000.
Oh my goodness.
And the wife was so excited to tell me that. She's like, because he kept messing around with me because they were friends too.
Yeah.
And he's like, because his daughter did really well, which also, it's nice to have a success story.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, the wife kept saying, just tell him.
He's messing in the seat.
So, yeah. So anyway, we were super excited about that. So when I mapped it out now you've been to the old campus.
Yes. Which was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah, absolutely. It was about 45 acres that we were using. There was a 230 acre campus, but most of it was forest.
Right.
We were only utilizing all the buildings and the dining hall, all that, track and field.
Yeah.
All that was on 45 acres.
Oh, really?
So it was kind of weird that we found this piece of property that's 45 acres.
That's God.
Yeah.
That's God. That's that confirmation, because you can't make that stuff up.
No. And so we're building from scratch, and we have like 2 buildings. There was a house on it, and there was a metal building that was put on it by one of the donors. And I mentioned her name, but I'm not sure I have permission to do that. So I kind of feel bad because I'd love to endorse her ministry. Yeah. But I'm going to say it.
Go ahead.
And then I'll check with her, and if she doesn't like it, you can cut it out.
We'll cut it out.
Okay. King's Ransom.
Say it again.
King's Ransom.
Okay.
And they're a nonprofit, Texas, and they fund people like me.
Perfect.
And she's just been amazing, and their ministry has been amazing to us. And so between all that, we got it all squared away. And so then we thought, wow, housing's kind of, we put on some temporary buildings, put the girls in it. Everything was cool. Texas is a different mentality, neighbors, everything's different. And so we had to kind of get used to that. And then this guy came in, and his ministry was construction. And you probably know this guy, but again, I'm probably not going to say his name because I'm not sure he wants that.
Yeah.
But he came in and he goes, I want to build all your staff houses. So he's there now. He's built 3 of them, and he's building 2 more, total of 5. And then we're going to have probably 6 total. And then we're going to start building student homes, and then move the temporary buildings out. So it's just like going crazy. And we've only been there just a year.
I cannot wait to get there in July.
Yep.
Dude, this is going to be amazing. I'm so, this is such God's timing right now.
We
so
have this
stoked.
pond that's like almost identical to the pond we had. It's a little bit smaller, but we're going to make it it's almost going to be identical, even with the island that was on that pond.
Yeah.
It's going to look almost the same.
That's crazy.
And then we're going to have like lazy rivers going through it. We want it to be a resting place, a peaceful place. And running water, for me, is that. Yeah. And having little water features where the girls can come out of their dorm and there's a little fountain, or, not gaudy or wasteful.
Yeah.
Really practical.
Totally.
And so we're super, super excited about it.
Dude, I am excited. So everything's being built there. Is there, what else can people that are listening right now, they're just like super stoked on this whole program. What are the needs? Are there any needs that people could, maybe if people have resources or just prayer? Like,
well, obviously prayer, because it's an everyday,
totally, always
trial, and there's just a lot of stuff going on. But I think if they could just pray, and we're really looking. We have quite a few large donors. Yeah, but that makes me nervous. Because if a large donor goes away, you're hurting. And I don't like that fluctuation. Yeah. So I'd really like to develop a huge amount of donors that give like 10, 15, $20 a month. Yeah. Because I think that's healthier, and it sustains you better. Plus it doesn't tax anyone. And so we just want to be a good steward. We need staff in a big way. Singles, mostly single females, but males can work in maintenance and stuff like that. We just have to be careful about that. And then couples, we definitely want, couples that are either administratively minded or willing to work with the girls, because it's a mentor thing. You don't have to have special skills, except you have to have a lot of patience and a love for these girls. I mean, that's the criteria. Love Jesus, and then we'll train the rest. And so people get a little intimidated by it, but we're not going to put you in a situation that sets you up for fail. In fact, we'll screen you and say, "This is not the job for you. You won't make it. You're not going to be happy." So we're going to be straight up. So we want people to apply, though, so that we can get the best people that we can for the girls. And then obviously, starting from scratch, we need everything. I mean, we need builders, we need electrical contractors and plumbing contractors and septic builders, and I mean we need you think of it, we probably need it, down to toys for the girls, little things like paddle boards and crazy stuff like that. So really it's kind of wide open. And if they call us and say, "Hey, I have this," then we'll tell them, "Oh, you know what, we can't use that," or "Awesome, send it."
Okay. All right. Yeah, paddleboards for the lake, huh?
Yeah, because the girls are floating on it because it's hot and humid there.
Yeah. I was just thinking about that, yeah.
So somebody donated an above-ground pool.
You know what? I got to find out. I have a friend that gets a cost on that stuff. I'm going to find out on those paddleboards. I'm going to look into that for you guys.
Okay, cool.
Paddleboards.
So, yeah, it's just and they can call us and say, "Look, I have these resources," or "What do you want? I'm willing to pay for something." So whether it's a cash donation or a hard item, just call us up.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll give them the number. Can you give them the number? I'll give them the number.
Yeah, go ahead and give it out.
Okay, so it's going to be answered Teen Rescue or Riverview Christian Academy. But call 800-494-2200, or they can email me at phil@teenrescue.com.
Yeah, get on that. This is a good ministry. I was telling you, the Whosoever's, we do a monthly giving. Yeah. 10, 5, whatever. And that's cool because, like you said, it doesn't tax, and it's cool because you're constantly giving, and as that database builds, it just keeps building. I learned that actually from the Billy Graham Association. They said, big time donors, sometimes they're just a one time giver. Yeah, they give, and then you get this big chunk, and then you put it into the ministry and it's gone, but
Right.
it's more sustainable to have that $10 a month, $5 a month. And then it's cool because even then you're like, you know what, it's automatically it's giving and, $25 or whatever. And it continues to build. I do that with several ministries. It's awesome.
Yeah, one of our larger donors gives like $14,000 a month, and he had to cut it in half.
Yeah.
During COVID, and I was like, "Oof, that stings.
That's a big chunk."
And so, but then fortunately, God blessed him, and now he's able to kick it back in. But that kind of, I kind of always had a wake up call about it, but that really gave me a wake up call to say,
Yeah.
we really have to build our infrastructure in such a way that we're not dependent on one or two people.
More people can give at $10 a month, $20 a month. It's like I go to Starbucks. What is it like? It's like almost $5 for a coffee. So it's like $10 a month or four. It's
Adds up.
Yeah. So yeah, let's do that. Get on board with that. And I'm still pumped to come out and meet up with everyone. So we're gonna be closing here soon. So how's Tiffany doing? And because Tiffany's the director. Why don't you talk about Tiffany a little bit so people know who the director is there on the campus?
Yeah. Okay. So, so Tiffany came to me when she was 15 or 16, and she was part of the program for kids that were just having a tough time.
Yeah.
She was not trafficked. I always have to clear that up because people go, "Oh, I'm sorry that you were trafficked." She's like, "I wasn't trafficked."
Yeah.
So, but I've known her since she was 15, and she went through that part of our program, our school, and did quite well. And then went to missions trips to Vietnam. I think I may be getting this wrong, but she went to a couple different countries on missions trips and just grew spiritually. And then came back to us. I won't get into this, but after the fire and we burned down, you remember that? We were in San Diego and burned down.
Yep, that was on the previous show.
So basically, she came back and we were at Hume Lake Christian Camps. They had taken us in temporarily, and she had said, "Hey, I want to come work for you." And I'm like, "That's awesome." So she came to work for me, and she says, "Where are you, though?" And I said, "I'm at Hume Lake." Now, the poetic justice to that was she got busted at Hume Lake Christian Camps as a camper for selling drugs. No. Or using drugs. I'm not sure which it was, but
probably both.
So yeah, so it was so funny that she ended up coming back to the place that she got kicked out of.
Unbelievable.
So I thought that was poetic.
Yeah, totally.
But, so anyway, so then she worked for me. She worked her way up, became a supervisor, then became a manager, and then at one point I said, my directors had given me like a 5-year notice and said, "Look, we're getting up there in age. We're going to need to retire pretty quick, but we're going to give you 5 years notice." And I said, "Okay." So I had plenty of time, and Tiffany was like a standout staff-wise. She'd been there. She'd known. You can't get around her.
No.
The girls can't work her. So, so she ended up becoming a manager. And then when the couple retired, she took it over. She was nervous, but she did a great job, and she's been doing it 18 years.
18 years.
I think. I might have gotten that wrong too, but it's definitely over 16, I think. And
that's a long. If you really think about that is a long time to be in the thick of it. Because she,
I don't know how she does it.
She lives there on campus. When we were there at the other campus up north, she's there around always.
24/7.
Her husband's there. Then she had a kid. I think she had one kid at that time.
Okay.
She had the one kid. He was a little baby growing up. But now she has how many kids? 3?
She has 2 and 1 on the way.
2 and 1. Yeah, that's right. Because she had the other one right.
She might be getting mad at me for announcing that on the air, but it just happened. But hey, she'll get over it.
Okay, sorry.
You better tell all your friends quick, Tiff.
Oh, shoot. Sorry, Tiffany. So then she has the 3 kids, and then she's just in the thick of it. It's just unbelievable. But it's been pretty cool too to see the kids interacting with the little kids, the babies, like the girls there.
Oh yeah,
interacting with the little babies.
It's a family atmosphere for sure, because you got dogs running in and out, little pigs running in and out. Chickens everywhere.
Yeah,
and then you got little, like you said, there. Her kids, and her kids have really good boundaries, so they know, kind of how to handle themselves. And so it's just been an amazing adventure. It's been an amazing 30 years.
Well, man, I'm excited to have you back on the show. Is there any, obviously you're working on this, but is there any other stuff that you would like to talk about that you have going on in your life, or?
No, I mean, I think that I think just a lot of prayer for protection, because we have seen it comes in waves, but right now we're in the middle of a huge attack, and it's just people have a different point of view of what Christianity is. We were recently called a cult.
A cult.
Yeah, we were, basically.
Is this in Texas?
Yeah.
So wait, when you're saying a different view on Christianity,
it's like they don't understand that we are not freaks. We're not, doing things that are inappropriate. We're strictly biblically based, and we hire all Christians.
is it because you're from California?
That could be.
Well, because no, there's what I've realized, it's funny that you say that, and this is what I want to talk about, is that as I travel all over the world, Christianity looks different. It's like almost like it's what's the word? It's like it's culture. It's like there's a different culture to Christianity no matter where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. They have a different point of view.
It is. And it changes by state, believe it or not.
Well, it changes even by region, because I think it's what people were exposed to in their earlier years.
Yeah.
And so they have these preconceived notions on who you are. And quite sadly, a lot of Christians have screwed it up for everybody else because of their bad behavior.
And Christian cults.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so...
Because there was that one, Jeffrey, what was that one? There was like a cult in Texas.
I know. I don't remember the name.
It's on Netflix. I watched it. I'm like, did this
was
really?
that the Waco thing?
Was it the Waco? I think it was the Waco one. Or
I don't know. I know there's been some. But,
yeah. Anyway.
But we just felt like, especially over the last 14 days, we have gotten attacked huge.
Yeah.
Now, we came out of it about a day ago. So literally it's fresh.
Yeah.
Where there was all sorts of attack from government agencies to the sheriff to Child Protective Services.
No way.
And it was all stupid. If I told you the story, which I'm not going to, you'd go, really?
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
It's just there's attacks.
Right. And so it's, and that when it gets really stupid, it's an attack.
Yeah.
Because, if you do something wrong, okay, own it.
Yeah.
But when you do nothing wrong and just comes out of the blue, you're like, okay, this is definitely attack.
Exactly.
So really, if people could just pray for God's protection, because we're in an extreme ministry, and it's hard enough for Tiffany and Blaze to be working with these girls and to manage the staff and all that. Then to have this outside bombardment, it just wears people out.
Yeah.
And I think Satan wants to wear us out, so we'll quit.
And I've seen Satan use the church to come against the ministries to wear them out.
Yeah.
He'll use the church, and they'll think that they're right and that these other people are wrong, and they'll use them, and he's just laughing. He's just laughing because it's just dividing the church, and then it's destroying ministries. But God's greater than all that stuff.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna pray for you right now while we're here. God, I just pray for Phil and his program out there in Texas, Lord, that you, in Jesus' name, I pray that you put your angels, your warrior angels, to surround the camp, to protect them from the enemy coming in. Be with those girls, be with Tiffany and Blaze and their children, Lord, that you will keep them safe, give them wisdom, give them strength by that dunamis power of your Holy Spirit, God, that boldness to continue to press on, Lord. I pray that you continue to bring finances and resources and everything that they need as you have. You've been faithful, and our timing isn't your timing, but you're doing it in your timing, and you're faithful, and you're going to continue to work out your purpose in their lives, Lord. So I pray for blessings on everything that they do and they touch. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right, man. Well, yeah, man. It's so in closing, we should definitely try to get a little boat deal going on with the with the girls. Actually, Crystal's buying life vest right now for him, because we're going to be going on a couple trips where there's going to be some lakes.
Oh, nice.
They know how to swim, but it's just good when you have that many kids, just like a little extra protection, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you just call me up anytime.
Yeah, that would be,
anytime.
we will contact you. I do want to plug, we are going to be in Thousand Oaks, June 12th through the 19th. We're going to be touring. We're going to be hitting skate parks. We're doing church events. I even heard there's even a juvenile detention center that might be opening up for us. So boys' homes, girls' homes, if you want us to come, we have some open slots. Hit us up. Go to thewhosoevers.com. We will be in Grapeland, Texas. I have no idea. Did you look that up?
Tried to Google it, but we got back into the show before I...
Okay, Grapeland. Let's see. Grapeland, Texas. Grapeland, Texas is, we're going to have to look that up.
I must have spelled it wrong.
But that's on July 24th. I'm going to be at a concert with 7 Day Slumber, Letter Black, and many, many more bands. I think there's probably 15 bands there. It's going to be a big music festival. So I'd love to see Tiffany there. If she wants to come out with Blaze, that will be epic. And yeah, just go to our social
we might
media.
bring the kids.
Really?
Yeah, we could bring the girls to that.
Dude. Yeah. So did you find out? We got to
No,
find out.
I don't know if I'm spelling it wrong or what, but Grapeland's not coming out.
Yeah, we gotta do this, and that would be so awesome to come out and hang out with everyone. But go to thewhosoevers.com, guys. We have products that support the movement. As we were talking about donations, we have the monthly giving. $5, $10. No, if you want to donate a big thing, please do. We have the Kill the Noise book. If you guys are watching this on YouTube and all that, this is the book right here. Kill the Noise book, Finding Meaning Above the Madness. This is a discipleship tool. This is a highlight reel of my life with Bible studies. If you didn't know, I teach the Bible. I have studies on YouTube. It's life application with Bible study. It's going to help you overcome. It's going to increase your faith. It's going to help you face fear, depression, anxiety, addiction. And then maybe you're just a Christian and you're like, man, my life has been boring. I go to church every week. I know the word of God. I know the stories, but there's no life to it. If you're not living the Great Commission, if you're not active, basically the Great Commission is being active in ministry, right? You're in the Great Commission. You're in active ministry. When you put yourself in active ministry, you will come alive. And at any capacity, if it's like you're taking out the trash at church or work in the parking lot, or if you're volunteering at a human trafficking home or a source to bring them out, or any capacity, feeding the poor, whatever it is, you will come alive because God put that inside of us to go and help people. He says, love your neighbor as yourself. Now, if you really love people as yourself, just imagine if everyone loved their neighbor as themselves. This world would be a different place.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Imagine, because everyone loves themselves and they want to be treated right and they want what is good. But if we did that and you went out and loved people, God will do something special inside you. So just keep pressing on, keep reading the Bible, get disciples, get around people that are on fire for the Lord, and literally your life will change. You will not be living the stagnant Christianity, knowing the scriptures, but bored out of your mind. You will literally come alive. So make sure you go to the website, to your website, and plug it one more time for the
Togetherfreedom.org.
Go there, contact them, get on a call, see if you could volunteer, or even if you know anyone that is a couple that might want to go there and volunteer. You have house moms there, right?
Yeah, we have interns that come from Moody Bible and other Christian colleges. So we can intern, employment, or volunteers.
That's it. Well, that's the end of the show. Phil, thank you for being on here.
Thanks for having me.
It was awesome.
Yeah, it's cool.
This has been The Ryan Ries Show. To connect and find out more about Ryan, click on ryan-reese.com. Check us out next Saturday at 9 p.m. for The Ryan Ries Show.